Good evening. We are live from the Nation Center. You're right in time for our broadcast tonight, and it's also Monday, so press pass is up shortly. Mark Maasai is away, so I'll be sitting in for him in the next hour. Before then, let's take a look at the highlights.
Tonight, millions of shillings discovered in two rural homes.
Kuna msichana wake ameolewa kwa hiyo mboma. Bwanake sijui pesa ilipeanwa kutoka Nairobi. Sasa venye hiyo pesa ilipeanwa, msichana bwanake alikuwa mmoja wa kuleta hiyo pesa huko.
Relatives of suspects in the 72 million shilling heist now in custody. And public hospital slams door on expectant woman.
Amesema ati mtoto hachezi nikimbie na malusi.
Mother delivers outside the hospital and Dandora residents take to the streets in protest. Plus,
complainant is duly registered as a voter.
It's a game on. McDonald Mariga cleared to run in the Kibra by-election.
Ile kitu inaanza vibaya inaisha vizuri.
Also tonight, 2 children dead in suspected food poisoning case.
Baba yake akasema hii chakula yenye nilikula yenye inanifanya kwa tumbo.
4 adults admitted in Bungoma hospital.
NTV Tonight with Kenn Mijungu.
Our sign language interpreter tonight is Flora Atieno. And we begin with this story you have been following for the last 1 week or so. A 60-year-old granny and a G4S security guard are among 3 suspects spending the night in police custody after being arrested in connection with the 72 million shilling chartered bank heist. Now, this latest arrest brings the total number of suspects to 9 and the total amount of money recovered just about 9 million shillings. As police closing on the masterminds of the heist, Seth Olale with the latest update.
There was little attention directed at this homestead in Kalumoni village in Mavuti location until police raided it at midnight. This tiny and remarkable room with just a bed, suitcase, water bucket and a matchbox has been a safe storage for 2,389,000 shillings recovered by detectives from DCI Special Crimes Unit and the home of the latest suspect in the 72 million shillings Standard Chartered Bank heist. Detectives say the operation started at Mumandu area of Machakos County, where they arrested John Kamau Mulei, the brother of a G4S employee, Bernard Mwendwa, arrested last week on suspicion of being involved in the heist. Mwendwa then led detectives to her in-laws' homestead at Kalumoni village, where they recovered the money stuffed in denominations of 1,000 shillings in the new currency notes. The 2 arrested here were taken to Langata police station, where they are currently detained, awaiting to be arraigned in court.
Kuna msichana wake ameolewa kwa hiyo mboma. Unanielewa? Sasa msichana venye bwanake sijui pesa ilipeanwa kutoka Nairobi. Sasa venye hiyo pesa ilipeanwa, msichana bwanake alikuwa mmoja wa kuleta hiyo pesa huko. Juu huyo bwanake ametoa bibi huko kwa hii mboma.
Sasa kuamka asubuhi sasa tukashindwa, sasa tutaanzia wapi na tutamalizia wapi? Sasa hao ndio mambosi wetu na sasa hatuna mmoja wao.
Kilometers away from Machakos, detectives were also closing in on Bernard Sewanga, a G4S employee who had gone into hiding soon after the theft. He was arrested at a newly rented house in Ruiru. He later led police officers to his father-in-law's homestead in Lurambi, Kakamega County. Police recovered 1 million shillings stuffed inside a black bag and buried in a cowshed. The latest arrests bring the total number of suspects in custody to 9 and the total amount recovered to over 9 million. Detectives who've extended investigations to other parts of the country are majorly relying on witnesses' accounts as well as tracking phone data from the suspects involved, even as they close in on the masterminds of the 72 million heist believed to be staff from the security firm, police, as well as the bank involved. Seth Olale, NTV, Nairobi.
Yet another story with massive public interest. Murdered Dutch businessman Cohen's estranged wife will remain in police custody for a further 9 nights. Sarah Wairimu will remain in remand pending a mental assessment, and an examination of Cohen's remains to determine the cause of his death. His sister, wife, and the state agreed that the post-mortem examination takes place first thing tomorrow morning. NTV's Oli Barros tells us why that is all we can say on this subject.
Ever since the former Philips Electronics East Africa CEO, Cohen, mysteriously disappeared 2 months ago, his relationship with his estranged wife, Sarah Wairimu, has fed the news presses.
With John Kamau of the Nation.
The state of their finances, property and extramarital ties proving fair game as members of the Fourth Estate sniffed out the tawdry. The investigative authorities and interested parties dropping forensic clues along the way for the press to follow up on. But on Monday, the High Court moved to curb the public's appetite for news of the Cohen investigations.
DCI investigators, the victims, prosecution, defense, to resist addressing the media on the investigations or evidence that are alleged to exist in this case. And also the media is also prevented from publishing investigations into the matter.
As it did so, it moved the story forward, directing that Sarah Wairimu return to court next Thursday to plead to the charge of murdering her husband in cold blood. Her defense counsel aggressively pursuing her release on bail after 20 days in the cells.
Every day she is held in custody, extreme prejudice occurs. Bodies are found without her involvement. Witnesses are telling their stories to the media through the investigators. Now, somebody wants to grab a matrimonial home.
By consent of the parties, a post-mortem exam will be conducted on Cohen's remains on Tuesday morning.
It's headlines like these that read like a crime thriller and cast Sarah Wambui in the role of a black widow that have her defense team up in arms, concerned that unless the narrative is tamed, then her fate will be signed, sealed and delivered in the court of public opinion. Olive Barrows, NTV.
Now you know why we're quiet. Don't ask us, ask them. One person has been killed in Kibra scheme area of Marsabit in what is suspected to be a retaliatory attack. There were reports of fighting in Kibra scheme and Baradasa just a day after 4 gunmen attacked a quarry worker and killed 1 person and injured 4 others. Authorities say the man was shot and killed by armed men said to be from the Kibra community. Residents now live in fear after this latest attack that happened soon after a security team from the region held a peace meeting at the Marsabit Lodge in an effort to find a solution for the spate of in that region. And elsewhere, 6 people died on the spot while several others were rushed to a nearby hospital following an accident at the Makobeni Bridge along the Kaloleni and Mazeras Highway that's in Rabai in Kilifi County. Witnesses say a truck traveling from Kaloleni to Mombasa rammed into a saloon car that was just joining the highway. 3 other vehicles also crashed into the trailer, causing a huge traffic snarl-up. Locals now want the government to put up bumps along that stretch to reduce on the number of such accidents. Away from that to some politics now, and the stage is now set for what promises to be a bruising battle for the Kibra parliamentary seat following the conclusion of the IEBC nominations. The last candidate to make the cut, McDonald Mariga, was handed his certificate in Kibra after the IEBC tribunal declared that he was validly registered as a voter and therefore eligible to vie in the coming election. NTV's Brenda Wanga with the details.
Relief for footballer turned politician McDonald Mariga as he receives the all-important document that confirms his participation in the November 7th Kibra by-election.
Ile kitu inaanza vibaya inaisha vizuri. Kwa hivyo niko 100% tarehe 7 Novemba itakuwa mzuri sana.
The road to this moment, however, hasn't come easy for both the candidate and his party. His late registration being the bone of contention and his appeal resulting in a precedent-setting ruling from the IEBC. For determination before the tribunal was whether Mariga's application to be registered as a voter 2 weeks after the writs for the Kibra by-election had been issued was valid. The returning officer had declared that the candidate wasn't registered since his details were not in the KIMS kit at the nomination center. The Elections Dispute Committee, however, says the returning officer's move was an illegality since it did not take into account the updated register from the Starehe constituency.
The complainant is duly registered as a voter. B, the respondent's decision of 10 September 2019 declining the nomination of the complainant on account that he was not registered as a voter is hereby set aside.
The IEBC further validated the use of the acknowledgement slip as proof of registration.
The Commission has looked at the acknowledgement slip, which the Deputy Registration Officer confirmed to be authentic. In addition, the committee looked at the complainant's details in the BVR kit and was satisfied that the elector's number on the acknowledgement slip and as shown in the BVR kit matches.
The victory in the tribunal now means that Mariga joins 23 other candidates in the race to fill the vacant Kibra seats.
I want you to see the tribe of hustlers, Mama Mboga, Boda Boda,
to support our candidate to ensure that our candidate is on the ground.
Securing his spot on the ballot paper may just be the easier of the tasks that lay ahead for the Jubilee candidate McDonald Mariga. The harder part will be convincing the people of Kibra to vote for him as he seeks to fill the vacancy left by their deceased MP. Brenda Wanga, NTV, Nairobi.
Right, let the campaigns begin for McDonald Mariga, but there is information that there could be someone going to court. We'll bring you those details as soon as we have the court papers. Let's move on. And residents of Dandora right here in Nairobi County today poured into the streets to protest what they termed as negligence on the part of the county-owned Dandora health facilities after the hospital turned away an expectant woman who had sought help to deliver her baby. Now, the woman says she was told to seek help from the Mama Lucy Hospital, but she couldn't make it and delivered her baby right outside the hospital gate with no help from any of the health workers. Eunice Omolo reports.
It was a long, tedious and somewhat lonely birth to delivery for Mary Atieno, who had to bring her newborn into this world right outside the Dandora health facility and in the glare of the public. This was after she was turned away after visiting the facility to deliver.
Amesema ati mtoto hachezi, nikimbie Mama Lucy. Sasa nimeenda mpaka nje ya gate, nimeona hii kitu, nimejikaza siwezi fika Mama Lucy, nimerudi. Hii kitu iko karibu kutoka. Baada ameniskuza tu na hiyo kitabu ati nikimbie Mama Lucy.
And even after a second attempt to get the hospital staff to help when she went on labor, she was still turned away and told to seek help at the Mama Lucy Hospital. But she couldn't make it there and had to deliver outside the hospital's gate with no assistance.
Nimenini huko nje ya gate peke yangu kama niko na wamama, alafu nilikuwa nasikia uchungu na nimeshika nini gate na wa madaktari ananiangalia tu.
The scene witnessed by residents of the area sparked anger that led to demonstrations. Residents accused the hospital of not paying attention to the mothers and accused the management of demanding admission fees before attending to pregnant mothers, despite the government announcing that there would be no charges for deliveries in public hospitals. The angry residents engaged the police officers in running battles in the protest that went on for the better part of the day. Eunice Omolo, NTV.
Now, from that horrifying acts of health officials from the hospital to another act from a minor, which is disturbing, and a video of a boy hurling insults at one of his classmates has gone viral on social media, raising questions on the role of parenting in the digital age. The boy who was vilified online posted another video apologizing to the public, also shedding light on how exposed young social media users are to cyberbullying. NTV's Sharon Baranga pulls it all into perspective.
Different social media platforms were awash with a video of a young boy who was evidently angry at one of his classmates and was hurling insults at her while threatening her at the same time. Parents at the school demanded that he be suspended. The boy, who was berated by social media users, posted another video apologizing for his conduct. The disturbing content raised eyebrows, with many questioning the role of parents in the digital age.
In such a scenario, I'm wondering who brought up the child, because it's a parent who trains the child on how to speak and which words to use. Parents have abandoned their duty of taking care of their children, so they have brought in gadgets to do that. That language is language found in films, so that is what he has been watching.
So what is the best way to handle such a case?
It's a matter of control. What is my child watching? What are they doing with the gadget that I've given them?
Psychologists say the reaction by a number of adults who came across that video is also wanting. Many online users who widely shared the video also hit out at the child over his foul words.
It is a matter of we grown-ups being a little bit responsible. When I see that, do I spread it? Because this is a child. After all is said and done, even if he has done what, it's still a child. And they need to be corrected in the right way.
In Germany, a group of children protested against their parents, saying they spent too much on their phones. The children complained they were not getting the attention they needed from their parents.
My word for parents is walk a journey with your child right from the beginning. It only takes a few years to bring up a child. Just a few years. Commitment for just a few years.
To stop cyberbullying, parents are advised to be supportive of their children as well as monitor their child's use of technology, as such attacks could scar a child and have a lasting impact. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
All right, and for more insight on parenting in this digital era or age, join us in the next hour on Press Plus. That's where we're going to get further details from my panel tonight. Let's move on. And two Form 1 girls who were reported missing last week have been found. The girls, Michelle Njeri and Caroline Mutete, were found in Korogosho by a Good Samaritan who liaised with us to help reunite the girls with their families. NTV's Helen Aura has those details.
11 days later, and these families can now breathe easy.
Roho yangu nimesikia vizuri kwa sababu nimekuwa nikifinyika roho kuli silali and sijui niseme nini, ni kushukuru tu.
Nimefurahi sana na tukua tunalala.
It has been a long and desperate search for their missing daughters, two Form 1 girls from Chief Mbuguri Girls in Chogoria. They went missing on the 5th of September 2019 after they were sent home by the school for reporting back late for the third term.
Si tukadecide hatuwezi enda home kwa sababu tuliogopa kuteteshwa, kuchapwa, vitu kama hizo. Si tukadecide si tutaenda exile, yani tupote kabisa.
And as a result, the girls claim they opted to seek refuge in the streets of Korogosho, oblivious of the dangers that lurked about.
Tukilalanga, tuna switch places, tunaenda sometimes chini ya magari zimeharibika na mavibanda, tunalala huko kwa street.
After NTV aired the plight of the missing girls, a Good Samaritan came to their rescue and took them off the streets.
I saw Michelle, but I decided to approach her. As I approached her, nikamuuliza, Michelle, unanikalia msichana fulani aliletwa kwa news, alipotea. Your mother was claiming that umepotea. So, at first, she refused.
Susan did not relent, and after probing, the girls eventually gave in and agreed to go back home.
The best thing we can do is just to cancel the girl
Both families had reported the case of the missing girls to the authorities. They also want the school to be more involved in the affairs of students and look out for their well-being. Helen Aura, NTV.
And that's a story with a happy ending. And now to some tragic news from the counties. A third-year student from the University of Nairobi died today in Ojame village in Busia County after a tree he was cutting fell down on him and crushed him to death. Maurice Okware was trying to get some firewood for fuel to make bricks. Now the tree crushed him as he tried to prevent it from falling on the roof of a neighbor's house. He died on the spot. His family says he was making and selling bricks to raise money for his fees. They are now crushed as he was meant to report to school tomorrow. Elsewhere, 2 pupils of Central Primary School in Kitale were injured after strong winds blew off the roof of a classroom they were studying in. The heavy rains and strong winds also damaged the roofs of other 8 classrooms at the school, disrupting learning at the institution. The injured pupils were taken to the Kitale hospital for treatment. Well, just before we take a break, have a look at what's causing wonder in the Maasai Mara. And it's not the annual migration, it's this little guy. A baby zebra that's mostly spotted rather than striped. This is on the left is most likely the mother of that zebra, who looks just like any other zebra with black and white stripes. But this week-old zebra foal is unusually dark in color and covered in white spots. It was spotted by Anthony Tira, who is a tour guide and a photographer. Interestingly, the zebra's dark color is actually due to a genetic abnormality linked to the amount of melanin affecting the pigmentation of the fur. Now, this is the first ever recorded case of such a rare zebra in the Mara, and according to a wildlife specialist, such zebras do not survive for more than 6 months after birth. The incredible sight attracted herds of tourists who wanted to catch a glimpse at him. Right, interesting there. If you're in the Mara, you have to look out for that baby zebra. And coming up, it's time for a breather, but this is what we have on the other side. How a meal turned poisonous for a family in Bungoma. Details straight ahead.
You in the pollution? Yes, you. Dry throat? Strepsils. Gal in the smoke with a raspy voice? Strepsils. Hello, in the downpour with a scratchy throat? Take Strepsils. Get soothing relief for any throat irritation. Strepsils with its medicinal ingredients will heal the harm done to your throat from external factors. Strepsils. Strepsils for a dry, itchy, raspy, scratchy throat.
Sensitivity is a short, sharp pain that people experience when they have something hot or cold getting to the nerve of the tooth, causing that discomfort. If the sensitivity is left alone, it may get worse. Dentists recommend Sensodyne to their patients. It's able to get inside the tooth and calm the nerve of the tooth down, and the proof's in the results. It works.
Do you have what it takes to become the next generation of great innovators, ICT solutions providers, business gurus, corporate icons, and renowned engineers? Enroll now for our September 2019 intakes in postgraduate, degree, and diploma programs in the following schools: School of Business and Economics, School of Arts and Social Sciences, School of Information Sciences, School of Education, School of Agriculture and Natural Resources, School of Biological and Physical Sciences, School of Tourism, Hospitality and Events Management, School of Aerospace Science, School of Public Health, School of Medicine. Moi University, the foundation of knowledge.
Cook at the stove.
Ni kama haiko.
What?
Kapatia mtu wa Male akatu exchange na pegs.
My mini-me on his new bike. #goals. #child support.
Wewe tax au upate nimengoa mlango. Nikasafisha kila kitu kwa keja.
Sipaida wewe na kutambua.
I need more money for Liam's upkeep. That 50,000 is not enough.
Yes. Season 4.
When it comes to pimple care, Acne's Creamy Wash contains multiple vitamins and removes excessive oil and dirt. Use Mentholatum Acne's for clear and smooth skin every day.
Now, 2 children from Najofu village in Bungoma have died in a suspected case of food poisoning. Doctors at the Bungoma Referral Hospital say 4 others who also shared the meal have been treated and are out of danger. Zacchaeus Mwasame with those details.
Evans Juma's family from Najofu village is inconsolable. Their 2 children, aged 4 and 7, died after they consumed bad food in what is suspected to be a case of food poisoning. It was the usual mixture of beans and sweet potatoes that now turned sour for them. The meal had been prepared by the grandmother.
Made aliniita. Mimi nikaenda, kaniambia chakula ikapa, nafaa ukule. Akanipakulia chakula. Mimi nikachukua, nikaenda naye nyumbani kwangu.
Ikafika saa 3, karibu inaelekea saa 4. Baba yake akasema ati mimi ninahara. Pia huyu msichana akasema ati mama ninahara. Wengine wakaasa mama nataka kutapika, mama nataka kuenda kwa choo, kuhara na kutapika. Watu wakaasa kuhara na kutapika. Nikasema kwani mlikula hii chakula namna gani? Na baba yake akasema hii chakula yenye nilikula yenye inanifanya kwa tumbo.
One other child and his grandfather, who also shared the meal, were rushed to Bukembe dispensary. They were treated and discharged.
Polisi waliingia hapa, tulisaidiana, wakachukua mili, wakapeleka kwa mojari.
Wanafikiria food poisoning sio ati pengine umeweka sumu kwenye chakula. Ukiweka chakula pengine kikae kwa mahali fulani, kuna bakteria ambazo zinaweza mea katika hiyo chakula, na ukikula inaweza cause harm kwa mwili wako na pengine hata ikaweza kufariki.
Zacchaeus Masame, NTV, Bungoma.
Away from that, the government of Tanzania has hailed ongoing efforts by the government of Kenya to restore the Maasai Mara forest as a step in the right direction. This was during the 8th edition of the Mara Day celebrations in Mijungu, that's in Tanzania, an event that not only seeks to improve cohesion between the 2 countries, but also assess the 2 countries' shared responsibility for the conservation of the Mara River basin. Bridget Ngana reports that Tanzania is alarmed by the dwindling levels of the Mara River.
The Mara River faithfully follows the path it has known for eons. Where the hippo's head would only be seen momentarily from above the swollen river waters, they now lie exposed in the same habitat they previously found refuge and comfort. This is the river of life, not just for Kenya, but also for Tanzania, as it cascades towards the Lake Victoria in Tanzania. And the neighbors have taken note of the deteriorating quality and quantity of the water on their side of the border.
Utaona kwamba mto Mara wetu una maji machache sana. Ekolojia hii ya Maasai Mara Serengeti inakabiliwa na tisho kubwa kuliko siku zozote maishani.
Nachukua fursa hii kuomba washiriki wenzetu kutoka Kenya kuchukua hatua mwafaka katika maeneo hayo yote, kwa kuwa uhifadhi na usimamizi wa bonde la mto Mara unategemea juhudi za pamoja kati ya serikali ya Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania na serikali ya Jamhuri ya Kenya.
It is a clarion call to all of us that the future of the Mara ecosystem is our future. Sustaining this ecosystem means sustaining the bloodline of the Serengeti and Maasai Mara.
Apart from celebrating cultural diversity and the shared wildebeest migration, the 8th edition of the Mara Day celebrations saw Kenya and Tanzania resolve to set up a fund that will respond to the challenges of the Mara River ecosystem, such as climate change and human interference.
The steps that are being taken in Mau Forest is one of many steps that have to be taken. It's a key step that has been taken. Na sisi wengine wote tutafuata. And really we are looking at that example, and we are going to have to take our own steps into ensuring the survival of Mara River kwenye entirety yake.
While only 35% of the Mara River courses through Tanzania, the feeling is mutual that destruction of the vital water tower, the Maasai Mara forest, has had an immense impact on the livelihoods also this side of the border. Bridget's Ghana, NTV, Tanzania.
And Basic Education Principal Secretary Belio Kipsang says the assessment currently being undertaken by all grade 3 pupils in the country is not an examination. Kipsang, who visited pupils at the Moi Avenue Primary School, says the ministry has been assessing learners since the year 2010. The difference this time is that all learners from across the country will take part in the exercise, as opposed to previously when examiners sampled just a few schools. The pupils will not be graded and will not be ranked. The assessment will also be administered and supervised by the class teachers and not the Kenya National Examination Council, as it is with the national exams. He also assured that all pupils in grade 3 will move on to grade 4 next year.
You know, we've been made and given a mind frame that anything that we are putting our children through to appreciate what they have learned in the last 1 year, in the last 6 months, is an examination. We are just monitoring to appreciate, to see have they acquired the skills that they were expected to have acquired. And it is not anything that we shall use to make children progress to the next level. Our children proceed to the next level 100%.
Now, governors are concerned by the Supreme Court's pace in determining division of revenue case. The Supreme Court this morning moved the hearing of the case to October 8th. The governors feel the matter should have been dispensed with by now instead of dragging on in courts. Governors are seeking to have the procedures for the disbursement of funds to counties entrenched in the Supreme Law to safeguard counties from the standoff between the two houses of parliament as witnessed. Chief Justice David Maraga also ruled out the agreement reached by the two houses of parliament on the division of revenue should be deposited on or before the 23rd of September.
The two houses of parliament, having agreed on the division of revenue for this financial year, we direct that they file the mediation report on or before the 23rd of September 2019. We note that the Speaker of the National Assembly has raised a preliminary objection on this court's jurisdiction to entertain this matter. The parties having filed their written submissions on the issue, we shall deliver our ruling on that issue on the 8th of October 2019 at 9 a.m.
We are very uncomfortable that an issue that we thought it would take a short time has taken all this time. But of course we cannot dictate, that's their work. We will be patient.
Hatuwezi kushurutisha mahakama, lakini matarajio yetu ni kwamba mahakama pengine ingemaliza hoja hii haraka ili tusiingie tena katika utata mwingine.
And Deputy President William Ruto wrapped up his 9th tour of the coast since March, where for most part he kept to the script, drilling down the development message and staying away from politics. But his tours have raised debate among his opponents, who say he's started early campaigns ahead of the 2022 general election. Observers also say it's all part of an elaborate strategy to give him a head start in the race for the presidency. Kevin Mutai reports.
Deputy President William Ruto, keen to have an imprint across the country, has yet again been making maneuvers at the coast. This was his 9th visit, accompanied by more than 15 members of parliament, The DP pitched tent in the counties of Mombasa, Tana River, Kwale, Kilifi and Taita Taveta. During his tour, he has kept to the script, handing out goodies to the locals and keeping away from politics and talk of his 2022 ambitions.
Nasikizeni wangwana wa Changamwe. Hata na mimi unaniona nikisimama hapa wakati mmoja nilikuwa nauza kuku barabarani. Kwa hivyo hakuna kitu ambalo haliwezi kuwezekana.
His visits have, however, won him the support of several local members of parliament who have declared support for his presidential bid.
Wengi wanangojea wakati wao kutaka ndio waje watuambie maneno mingi.
Tumechoka kuwa katika upinzani miaka nenda miaka rudi.
Huu ndio wakati mwafaka sisi kama wapwani ya kuona ni nani anayetupenda na ni nani adui yetu.
Waswahili wanasema fuata nyuki.
Political analysts say the legislators are drawing closer to him so as to, in the interim, gain from development projects.
They're basically sending a signal that come 2022, this is the position that we have taken. But they are not going to say it loudly as the others who said it before, because they saw the consequences of that kind of utterances.
And that is why you are seeing that even the division in different parts of the country, like now we have even brought these wrangles into church level, where leaders go to churches and there's a clear division of who is supporting who, people looking at the 2022 politics.
Observers also say the DP, who is seen to be on an expansionist push across the country, has been drawing up a game plan to galvanize support for 2022, even though he has downplayed succession politics in every visit.
Sasa hawa watu wanaingiza siasa kwa mambo ya kazi. Siasa bado. Na ikifika wakati yake, sisi tunajua vile ya kuendesha mambo ya siasa.
That doesn't mean that there is no political undertones to these initiatives. And one of the things that I feel is happening is that the Deputy President is continuing with his move to popularize himself with the citizens, to make himself known.
The DP's tour of the coast concluded today. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
Time now for another break, but coming up, attack on Saudi oil facilities sends global oil prices soaring. More on NTV Business with Julian Amboko next.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Who wants to answer? Mary?
Mary has a toothache.
Oh, I see. And who knows why?
Because the tooth is too big.
No, it might be a hole in her tooth called a cavity. That's why I brush twice a day using Colgate.
Imagine this is your tooth and these are food acids that cause cavities. Colgate with calcium and fluoride helps prevent cavities
for maximum cavity protection.
And now available in a 12-gram sachet for fresh breath. Only 15 shillings.
Hey, mister. Where you going?
Men clean their cars themselves. I'll also clean my own bike. I'm grown up now.
Then you'll need this.
The most pleasant surprise for a mother is to see her child growing up.
But I know as he learns to take more responsibility, he'll face more dirt, germs, and the risk of illness.
That's why you need strong Dettol protection, because Dettol cleans and protects against 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
Are you in a financial fix and need the cash instantly? Is your electricity and water bill also due? Worry no more, Percenti has your back. Download the app from Play Store, register, and get the cash straight through your phone. You can also pay your electricity bill directly and many more bills on Senti. Pata Senti on Senti. Terms and conditions apply.
NTV Business News in association with Sanlam Kenya.
Let's get down to business. Welcome, I am Julian Amboko. And the Olkaria Lesos Kisumu electricity transmission line is now set for completion by March 2020 as the Kenya Electricity Transmission Company looks to stabilize power supply to the western region. According to KETRACO Managing Director Fernandez Barasa, the 400 kilovolts line will allow evacuation of geothermal power to the western region. Unstable power supply has often been blamed as a key factor of derailing industrial performance in the western region.
This line is going to address two main issues. The first one is about stability. One of the components that Olkaria Lesos Kisumu will do is to strengthen the transmission network. So when the network is strengthened, definitely we will not have outages. Number two, this line is going to facilitate evacuation of geothermal power to western region. Largely Western is now focusing on hydro, which we get from Uganda, by the way.
And away from that, competition for white maize between humans and livestock is expected to intensify in the coming days following failure by the cabinet to approve the importation of yellow maize. The delays in approval, which have already seen the window along the Black Sea region closed, means that millers will not be in a position to import grain from Ukraine, where they have been targeting. The Ministry of Agriculture had prepared a cabinet memo in July, which had created optimism in millers that an approval would pave the way for importation of the grain with a waiver on duty in the wake of biting shortage of white maize. The Association of Kenya Animal Feed Manufacturers says millers have now taken the matter to the Permanent Secretary of Livestock, seeking a way forward on the same. And a section of stakeholders in the construction sector now say that delay in issuance of construction permits has played a role in the slowdown presently witnessed in the real estate sector. The Architectural Association of Kenya and the Kenya Private Developers Association say that applicants wait for between 3 months and 2 years to get a permit, leading to a decrease in the number of construction projects. According to the two bodies, the value of building plans approved in Nairobi County decreased to 48.5 billion shillings in the first quarter of 2019, a 19.2% drop from the same period in 2018.
Right now we have a backlog of about 2 months of no meetings. And what is happening is that this is actually affecting the ease of doing business in the country, whereby the capital city, Nairobi, is actually affected to the point of they're actually losing revenue to the tune of about 91 million shillings.
And as the labor market continues to grapple with massive layoffs leaving workers and households vulnerable, the Joint Organization of African Trade Union Unity and the Central Organization of Trade Unions Women Commission Conference kicked off in Nairobi today. The conference seeks to address the challenges facing Kenya's economic development, including low labor productivity and gender-based violence at work. The conference will run until the 20th of this month.
This is a very important Women's Commission workshop on ending violence and harassment at the world of work. I was telling our brother in charge of, who is my international advisor, Brother Barasa, that we should narrow it down to our own perspectives, in our own countries. How are we affected by issues related to harassment and gender-based violence at our places of work?
Ending gender-based at the workplace is a goal that works to benefit all employers and the workers, the community, the nation at large. I wish to share some of the insights that will benefit your workshop.
Let's talk about matters telephony. The uptake of cell phone-enabled payment is relatively slow in Kenya, even as reliance on the same for money transfer services continues to pick up. According to a report by financial advisory and audit firm Deloitte, close to 8 out of every 10 Kenyan adults rely on cell phone-enabled money transfer services, even as only 3 out of every 10 rely on the same services to make payments. This helps explain why Kenya remains a market dominated by cash payments, despite the prevalence of mobile money payment solutions across the country. The report further reveals that online banking is mainly used by persons with an income in excess of 50,000 shillings per month. And finally, the price of crude oil in the global market surged by as much as 19% to $71 per barrel earlier today, following Saturday's drone attacks on the state-owned Saudi Aramco oil facilities. As at 6 p.m. East African time, the commodity had, however, eased to $67 per barrel. The attack on the world's biggest crude processing facility disrupted production of 5.7 million barrels per day, which is about half of the Saudi Kingdom's oil capacity and equivalent to 5% of the daily global oil supply. Delays in resumption of production or broader tensions in the oil-rich region could rattle the oil markets further and keep the prices higher for more weeks, with the ripple effect expected to be felt by oil-importing nations such as Kenya in the months ahead. And up next, we have the financial report.
NTV Financial Report in association with Kenya Ports Authority. NTV Financial Report in association with Kenya Ports Authority. We
move what you make. Kenya Ports Authority. Growing business, enriching lives.
And that's it on NTV Business, but still ahead in this broadcast.
At Sanlam, we truly understand the value of each promise, and for over 100 years, we have been keeping promises for all our clients. Sanlam, every promise needs a keeper.
And that's it on NTV Business, but still ahead on this broadcast. Gilbert Oyungo is in the front seat for the standard gauge railway. His story coming up next in My Job segment.
Mama, how can I be a champion runner?
Well, you've got to be like a geisha ball. Staying strong and going so far.
Be strong and last long. Like geisha.
KASNEB is a professional examinations body with the mandate to offer globally recognized qualifications in accounting, finance, corporate secretarial practice, and credit management. We invite holders of KCSE D+ to register for the new KASNEB certificate in accounting and management skills CAMS qualification. KASNEB students can also register for CAMS through the Kenya Universities and Colleges Central Placement Service (COPS) and enjoy the loan facility offered to students through HELB. Applicants intending to sit for the November 2019 KASNEB examinations are advised to register and book for the examinations not later than the extended deadline of 30th September 2019. Contact us for more information. KASNEB. Be empowered.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. Panadol Extra, now with new Optizorb technology to fight multiple tough pains with 3 times more pain-relieving medicine in the first 30 minutes when you need it most. Seeing them support themselves makes any pain worth it.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Download
the Glovo app today, and when you need anything, order Glovo and we'll deliver it in minutes.
John suffers from indigestion. His twin James suffers from heartburn. Sometimes it's the other way around or both. That's why they use Gaviscon Double Action. It soothes within 3 minutes and lasts up to 4 hours. For double relief from heartburn and indigestion, Gaviscon Double Action. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Mgeni, pole, imejaa.
Nini? Tunakujua kwa nini wazee wetu wanapotelea kwako.
Ndio tuko tunataka kujua siri yako.
Siri ndio hiyo. Introducing the new salad oil with a spout for easy use. Comes packed with omega-6 and 9 and vitamin A and D and at a price that doesn't dent your wallet.
Leo utakula nyumbani.
Salad. Siri ndio hiyo.
And the news continues on NTV tonight. You might think that trains are just another childhood obsession, something that one grows out of as they get older. But what happens when you take an obsession and turn it into a career? This week on My Job, we meet Gilbert Oyugo, a locomotive driver for the Kenya Railways who has done just that.
The modern standard gauge railway is only as good as the people who run it. And look no further than Gilbert Oyugo, who has perfected the art of locomotive driving. Not only does Gilbert drive a freight train to and from Nairobi to Mombasa, but with over 10 years of experience in this industry, he also knows the ins and outs and nuts and bolts of the train.
I would say all along, that has been my career. So I started in 2003 up to 2006. That's the basic training in locomotive driving. That was with the old locomotive, old railway, that is the meter gauge railway. So after 2006, when I finished RTI college, we went to the field. So after assessment, I was allowed to drive the locomotive.
Gilbert has held a variety of positions in the locomotive industry, starting first with a job working on the old meter gauge railway. But with the launch of the SGR, he had to go back for more training to learn how to operate it. However, one might ask, what exactly does a day in the life of a locomotive driver look like? First, it starts with ensuring sobriety by taking an alcohol test, and then an array of checks and assessments before being able to board the train.
Then you are given the document, the running document. That's where you, together with the assistant driver, you go through them, you check that everything is okay. Then you are given the AC card. You are given the keys, the relevant documents, the train. You insert the details. Again, you counter check with your assistant driver. After that, you do now the locomotive checking.
Gilbert explains that his job entails knowing the engineering and wiring of the train so that in case any mechanical hitches happen while en route, he can quickly identify and resolve the issue.
Before you move, you have to again check and counter-check with your assistant driver that every data that you've entered is correct.
Confirm safety.
You confirm safety. You hoot. Then you wait. If anybody's underneath, he will move. Then you physically check. You check if there's somebody.
Back attention.
Back attention.
Then you confirm safety.
Back, okay.
Gilbert's working days consist of transporting cargo back and forth from Nairobi to Mombasa, a trip that takes about 6 hours to complete one way. But years into this job, one thing remains a constant favorite of his.
My favorite thing is that when I get to the cabin and I get to my destination on time and safely, I enjoy it most.
And to those pursuing a career in the locomotive industry, Gilbert has a tip or two.
The machine can be very good, but the person operating machine, if you are not good enough, you won't operate it. For example, driving a passenger train, you're carrying human life, so you need to be very careful and very alert. So that's what I'd like to say, that it's a very exciting job. Anybody who's willing to join, welcome.
Since its launch, the Standard Gauge Railway, a pet project by President Uhuru Kenyatta's government, has eased the movement of goods, services, and people, notwithstanding criticism in those finding fault in its viability and sustainability.
And now you finally know the brains behind the console. Locomotive driving is a job that requires skill, experience, and agility, but it's a career that's rewarding and can take you all over the world. Melanie Kibunja, NTV Nairobi.
Indeed, Melanie enjoyed pushing that button. Time now for sports, and Ida Waringa is coming up next with all the details.
NTV continues to bring you great entertainment, news and sports shows. Stay tuned to NTV. For free-to-air set-top boxes and digital TVs, please ensure your aerial is pointed for optimum picture. Then, rescan your set-top box to refresh the channels. When search is complete, scroll until you find your favorite channel under the name NTV or ADN NTV. Choose channel 91 on GoTV, 271 on DSTV, 106 on StarTimes, 13 on Zuku, and we're also on Signet. NTV, turning on your world.
Go get the stove.
Ni kama haiko.
What?
Kapatia mtu wa malimali, akatu exchange na pegs.
My mini-me on his new bike. #goals, #child support.
Feet is flying.
Wewe tax au upate nimengoa mlango. Nikasafisha kila kitu kwa keja.
Sipaida wewe na kutambua.
I need more money for Liam's upkeep. That 50,000 is not enough.
Yes, season 4.
When it comes to pimple care, Acne's Creamy Wash contains multiple vitamins and removes excessive oil and dirt. Use Mentholatum Acne's for clear and smooth skin every day.
From the heart of Nairobi.
Kote boy, they call me Burner. Platinums. What have we do to get your love?
To the waters of Lake Nakuru.
Give you all I got, but it's not enough for you. Angelina.
A very good Monday evening to you. Let's get into the world of sport. I'm Ida Waringa. And world 1500 meters champion Elijah Manangoi will not be defending his title at the upcoming World Championships in Doha, Qatar. The 26-year-old made the announcement on his Facebook page, citing an ankle injury suffered during training. Manangoi sat out the national trials on September 13th, courtesy of having already secured a wild card to Doha. He spoke to NTV about his injury during the event.
My injury is good now. It was bad that earlier, so after Doha Diamond League. But I see my doctor in Austria, so I'm perfectly well now. I was just waiting for the team, and then I'll be the team to Doha. Now I'm ready.
Well, we move on and we move to the intersection of sport and technology. Zacchaeus Wamiti, an electrical engineer, has found a way to combine creativity with his love for football. The union has birthed an interesting innovation, as I sought to find out. It all started with this note, left on my desk while I was away, with an interesting message by an ambitious young man who thought that he had something to give to Kenyan football. And after reading it, so...
Zacchaeus Munyange Wamiti is a man with a dream. The 28-year-old, whose love for electricals started at a young age, is one of the few in the country, if not the only, who makes electronic football substitution boards. The innovation is timely, as Kenyan football still largely relies on manual boards. In 2010, Kenyan Premier League, under its modernization program, introduced an imported electronic board at a reported cost of 350,000 shillings a unit.
We are selling it at 25,000 shillings, our lowest price we can.
The imported board was tested out at that year's Maasai Derby, but not much was seen of its implementation after that.
Apart from improving our quality, it will also reduce unnecessary foreign exchange, expatriation, buying those things from outside.
First, you compare the price, you are very, very much low in terms of price. Another thing, in case that board fail, we are here, we are always available to repair it. Unlike when they do import it from outside the country.
The 2016 FKF Club Licensing Guide allows for manual or electronic substitution boards. And while the manual version has been commonly used, Kenyan football has reached unprecedented low levels, as was witnessed in 2017 at the Machakos County Stadium, when a piece of paper was used to substitute players in a game between AFC Leopards and Ulinzi Stars. Regulations state that the home club is responsible for ensuring the field and field equipment are in reasonable condition for the match. The electrical engineer, who cites a lack of support by the local government, has also approached several sports federations with no luck. Undeterred, Zach, who started out by making M-Pesa LEDs, looks ahead.
And I, for one, I would wish to know that person immediately so that I can see how we can get one of those gadgets for our league.
Kenyans are indeed creative. And Kenya's search for what has become an elusive first win at the FIVB World Cup continues as the Malkia strikers went down 3-0 to Serbia. Kenya lost 13-25, 11-25 and 17-25 to the defending champions, the bright sport being Sharon Chepchumba, posting 10.
The Back to School program has brought hope to these young mothers.
NTV News. News that moves you.
Every day, NTV News team moves you to the center of the action.
The security forces who took part in this operation,
police are not taking anything to chance it.
Moves you to the heart of the story to witness and record history.
Rendering the declared results null and void.
Telling the story of Kenya.
The growing importance of border in Mandera.
Matatus will be on strike.
And beyond.
The politics in the United States capital.
It is the 7th edition of the Global Education taking place in Dubai.
When it comes to business, we crunch the numbers and unpack the detail with the latest information for your investment decision.
It's time to say goodbye to this note.
In a first round, a first leg CAF Champions League match at the Stade Mustafa Chaka in Bilda. The Algerians scored 3 goals in the first 45 minutes to go into the break firmly in control. Kogalo pulled one back in the 55th, captain Kenneth Muguna netting the consolation. But USM would ultimately put it beyond doubt in the 75th.
Reboot to this note.
In order for the manufacturing sector to be elevated from the ground.
Despite the government's promise to create at least 1.3 million jobs.
Moves you fast past the planes and trucks to bring you the triumphs and joys of our great men and women.
Moving stories that touch our hearts.
I didn't know that I could go back to school.
The Back to School program has brought hope to these young mothers.
NTV News. News that moves you.
Every day, NTV News team moves you to the center of the action.
The security forces who took
Association shooting team ahead of a trip to Cape Town, South Africa for the Southern Nationals competition. The Kenyan shooting team will travel to South Africa on September 23rd ahead of this year's IDPA Southern Nationals. While the team, which comprises of mostly civilian gun holders who shoot in masters, expert, marksman and sharpshooter categories, commenced training on Monday by acquainting themselves with the type of courses of fire which will be used during the competition. Well, quite interesting there to see the CS's reaction to the kickback from the shooting of the pistol. But we wind it up on that note. My name is Ida Warenga. Do enjoy yourself and have a good evening. I'm throwing it back to Ken.
All right, thanks Aida, and thanks to Julian Samboko earlier with business. And of course, it's 2 minutes past 10 p.m. Press Plus up shortly. My guests already in studio: Rose Lucalo, Celia Moichuli, Douglas Okach, and Joy Mweni. They're joining me to discuss several topics, among them that viral video of that young kid who recorded 2 videos, one insulting and the other one apology. We'll look at modern parenting. That coming up in a short while. Join me on Press Plus. My name is Kenn Mijungu. Good evening.